There's a quiet truth that most people never stop to consider. The universe doesn't just happen to you, it reflects you. Every moment, every emotion, every situation you face, no matter how random it seems, is actually a response to something you've given your attention to. From childhood, we were taught how to react, how to see the world through inherited lenses. But no one told us this. Your attention, invisible, intangible, is the most powerful force you have to shape your reality. You don't need to lift a finger. You don't need to force anything into existence. All you have to do is look, focus, feel, and without even realizing it, you cast your vote for the reality you'll experience. Imagine the universe as an infinite stage. Ideas, emotions, possibilities, and fears, they all stand in the wings, waiting for you to cast them in the lead role, and the director is you. Whatever you think about the most, feel most deeply, or observe the longest, that becomes the star of your life. Everything else, it fades into the background, as if it was never real at all. This might sound strange. After all, we're told we can't control what happens to us. And that's true, you can't control everything. But you can control what becomes your experience by choosing where to place your mental and emotional energy. In a world full of noise, negativity, and fear, the ability to choose your attention becomes an act of quiet rebellion. Because when you withhold your attention from something, you're not pretending it doesn't exist. You're simply refusing to fight it. And over time, you'll start to notice a shift. The things that once drained you, stressed you, or haunted you begin to disappear from your inner world, not because they stopped existing, but because you stopped fueling them. And that's where the real dialogue with the universe begins, not with words, but with what you choose to care about. We're used to thinking that in order to be heard, we have to speak, that to manifest something into existence, we must say it, declare it, name it out loud. But the universe doesn't speak English, or Spanish, or any language made of words. It speaks of vibration. What you say is the outermost layer, the one that's easiest to fake, easiest to polish, and also easiest to misunderstand. What the universe truly hears is the energy beneath the words. You can say, "I'm fine," and smile. But if your chest feels empty and your heart is quietly aching, then that's the real message you're broadcasting. You can shout, "I will succeed," over and over, but if your inner world is filled with doubt, fear, or unworthiness, the frequency you're sending is the opposite of success, because the universe isn't listening to your voice, it's listening to your being. It hears what you feel when no one is looking. It understands what you believe when you're lying awake at night, alone with your thoughts. It reads your vibration, not your vocabulary. This is why some people attract love even when they don't say much, and others chase it endlessly, no matter how loudly they ask for it. Because love, like everything else in this reality, responds to alignment, not effort. And here's the secret most never learn. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are being right now. When you feel as if your desire is already real, even if it hasn't shown up yet, you step into resonance with the version of you that already has it. You're not trying to believe. You're living as if it's already true, and that sends a clear, unwavering signal. I already have it. I am already it. That's when the universe starts to rearrange itself, not out of pity, not out of obligation, but because you're finally speaking its language. Not through words, but through the vibration of certainty, of worthiness, of presence. The universe only exists in the now. It doesn't understand soon, or someday, or maybe. So when your emotional state says, "I'm already there," it has no choice but to match it. This isn't about pretending. It's not about fooling yourself. It's about remembering a deeper truth. Your outer reality is just a mirror of your inner state. If you shift your state, the mirror cannot stay the same. You don't have to light candles. You don't have to chant. You don't even have to say anything at all. because every second of your life, whether you realize it or not, you're already speaking to the universe. Every thought you think, every feeling you hold, even the moments of silence when you stare out a window and simply feel something. That is the conversation. It's subtle, ongoing, and honest. The universe doesn't wait for formal requests. It doesn't need fancy rituals. It simply listens, always, to the energy you're radiating. So when you wake up anxious, even without words, you're saying, "I don't trust today." When you act out of fear, you're saying, "I don't believe I'm safe." When you focus on what's missing, you're saying, "This is my reality." And the universe responds, not with judgment, but with precision. It reflects your signal. That's why consciousness, awareness, is everything. Because the moment you become aware of what you're unconsciously broadcasting, you can begin to change the channel. Think of life like a game, not one of chance, but of frequency. Most of us entered this game without a rule book. We were taught how to survive, how to please, how to follow. But very few of us were taught how to listen inward or how to choose with intention. We inherited beliefs we never questioned. We absorbed fears we never named. And somewhere along the way, we forgot to ask, why am I playing this game in the first place? But then something shifts. A moment comes, often through pain or exhaustion or simply emptiness, and we begin to wonder, what if nothing is truly random? What if life isn't happening to me, but through me? And in that instant, your awareness expands, not because you've become more spiritual, but because you've begun to see more clearly your thoughts, your habits, your patterns, the invisible thread that links your inner world to the outer one. And from that clarity comes power. You're no longer a leaf caught in the wind. You become the wind, no longer reacting by default, but choosing with awareness. Have you ever walked into a room and felt something was off, even though no one said a word? Or met a complete stranger and instantly sensed trust or danger with no logical reason why? That wasn't luck. That wasn't coincidence. That was your intuition. Long before language, long before logic, we had this inner compass. Some call it gut feeling. Others call it a sixth sense or inner voice. But no matter what you call it, its message is always the same, this way. Not that. It doesn't shout, it doesn't explain itself. It just knows because it speaks the language of energy. But here's the problem. Most of us have been taught to ignore it. We were told that emotions are unreliable, that logic is king, that feelings lie. So we trained ourselves to analyze everything, while slowly forgetting how to feel. And yet reason, no matter how sharp, is always based on the past. It's a record of what was, but intuition, it's a whisper from what could be, a glimpse of the future your mind hasn't caught up to yet, but your soul already recognizes. That's why intuitive knowing often arrives without evidence. It doesn't ask for proof. It just brings peace or discomfort in ways the rational mind can't explain, and that's your clue. Because the true voice within you, the voice of your highest self, never speaks from fear. It's not urgent, it's not dramatic, it's calm, quiet, unshakable. The ego will scream for attention, make threats, demand answers, but the soul, it simply waits until you're ready to listen. And when you finally do, not with your ears, but with your being, everything starts to shift. You stop chasing things that were never meant for you. You stop trying to impress people who were never really looking. You begin to live by a different compass, one that's been with you all along, in a world that screams for your attention. Perhaps the most radical thing you can do is trust what feels right, even when you can't explain why. Because sometimes the deepest truth doesn't come with a reason, it comes with peace. If your conscious mind is the captain steering the ship of your life, then your subconscious is the current beneath the surface, silently pulling you in a direction you may not even notice. You can turn the wheel all you want. You can set goals, repeat affirmations, and visualize success. But if that hidden current is flowing the opposite way, you'll keep drifting in circles, confused, exhausted, wondering why nothing changes. The subconscious isn't evil. It's not broken, it's just doing exactly what it was programmed to do. And that's the catch. You didn't write most of that program. It was written by everything you've experienced. What your parents said to you as a child. What society told you was true. What repeated emotions carved into your memory over time. The subconscious doesn't ask if a belief is helpful or harmful. It doesn't care if something is good or bad. It simply absorbs what you repeat, especially if it's charged with emotion. So if you've told yourself for years, "I'm not good enough, I always fail, love isn't safe," those thoughts have quietly become the foundation of your reality. But here's the miracle. That foundation isn't fixed. It can be rewritten. And the tool, repetition with emotion. When you repeat something like, "I am worthy of love, peace, and abundance," your conscious mind may roll its eyes. The old beliefs will resist. The subconscious may not accept it right away. But if you feel it even just a little and say it again and again and again, you're planting a new seed. And if you water it with feeling, not just robotic words, but real emotion, that seed will take root. Not overnight, not with fireworks, but gently. You'll begin to notice subtle shifts. You walk into a room more confidently. You stay calm in situations that used to trigger panic. You stop second-guessing your worth. And one day, without even realizing when it happened, you'll see that you're no longer trying to be someone new. You are someone new from the inside out, because change doesn't come like a lightning bolt. It comes like the tide rising quietly, consistently, until the landscape is transformed. The subconscious doesn't require perfection. It only asks for consistency. You don't need to fight it. You just need to feed it the right signals, again and again, until the old programming fades into silence, and a new reality emerges to take its place. In the end, every effort you've made, every tear you've shed, every late-night question that kept you awake, they were never about changing who you are. They were about remembering, returning, reclaiming something ancient within you that the world made you forget, because you are not a spectator in this universe. You're not a visitor. You're not a mistake waiting to be fixed. You are the universe, living, breathing, learning, feeling through a human experience, just as the ocean lives inside every drop of water. The infinite lives within you. And once you begin to feel this, not just as a nice idea, but as a real, vibrating truth, everything begins to shift. You begin to realize that your thoughts are not random, they're instruments, tuning forks that shape your frequency. You begin to see that your emotions, even the difficult ones, aren't flaws. They're signals, messages from the deepest part of you, asking to be felt, heard, healed. And you understand that your choices, especially the ones you make when no one is watching, are sacred. They're the brushstrokes painting the landscape of your life. The world around you may still be noisy, chaotic, full of fear and distraction. But you no longer move through it the same way, because now you know how to listen inward. Now you know how to return to center. Now you know that your attention is power, and your vibration is your signature. You no longer need to force change. You become the change quietly, consistently from within. And the universe, it doesn't reward those who try harder. It flows to those who align deeper. When you feel peace before the solution comes, when you feel worthy before the outcome appears, when you feel love without needing it from someone else, you are tuning yourself to a reality that already exists. Because yes, every version of your life already exists, including the one where you're free, where you're fulfilled, where you're whole. You don't have to create that version from scratch. You just have to match its frequency. and that's the real miracle. Not bending the universe to your will, but remembering that you and the universe were never separate to begin with. You are the energy, you are the channel, you are the message. So if your life today feels small, dim, or stuck, know that it isn't the end. It's the doorway, an invitation to pause, to breathe, to choose again, this time with awareness and love, because the universe does not judge you. It only reflects you, and you, yes, you are holding the brush. Your canvas is blank each moment, and the colors, they're made from your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, and your intentions. So paint boldly, love deeply. Live as though everything you touch carries your frequency. Because it does, you are not here to wait for a sign. You are the sign. You are not here to earn your light. You are the light. And the universe, it's listening, always. The only question left is, what are you choosing to say?